The sun was hot that morning in the small town of Ikorodu. Birds were singing, leaves were dancing. But something else was happening too. Suena, a 13-year-old girl with big eyes and neat cornrows, waved goodbye to her mommy as she left for work. "Be a good girl," her mother said, locking the front door behind her. "I'll be back before sunset." Suena smiled. "Yes, mommy." Her mother crossed the small gate and walked away in her long office gown and shiny shoes. Just a few steps away, Musa, also 13, watched his daddy leave with a black bag and a deep voice. "Don't burn down the house," his father said with a small smile. Musa laughed. "I won't, sir." By 9 o'clock a.m., both houses were quiet. No mommies, no daddies, just Suena and Musa alone. They were neighbors, always playing together. Sometimes they ran around the backyard. Other times they played Ludo or just told stories and laughed until their tummies hurt. But on this day, Suena had an idea. She stood still and looked at Musa. "Muse," she said, putting her hand on her hip like a grown woman. "Have you seen how beautiful my mommy looks when she's going to work?" "Yes," Musa replied. "And have you seen my daddy with his tie and serious face?" Suena giggled. "Let's do it. Let's dress like them." Musa's eyes grew wide. "You mean dress like our parents?" "Yes," she smiled. "Let's see if we can look like real adults too." They both ran into their houses. Suena tiptoed into her mommy's room. Musa tiptoed into his daddy's room. Their hearts were beating fast, but they were excited. It was just pretend. Just fun. They didn't know that this day would awaken something inside them. Daughter Suena opened her mother's wardrobe. She saw shiny clothes, handbags, high-heeled shoes, and a red box on the table. She opened it. "Lipstick," she whispered, "just like mommy's." But just as she turned to leave the room, something caught her eye. A drawer was open just a little, and something inside looked strange. Suena walked closer slowly, like a cat in the night. She pulled the drawer open. When the bush is quiet, the hunter must open his eyes wide. Sometimes when things seem peaceful, something is about to happen. Suena's hand touched the wooden drawer. It felt smooth but cold. She pulled it all the way open. Inside, she saw a small book. It had a soft cover and strange words written in shiny gold. She picked it up and read the title slowly. It was not a school book. It wasn't her mother's Bible. It was something different. Something she had never seen before. She looked around the room, even though she was alone. Her chest was beating like a drum, still standing. She opened a book. The first page had a drawing of two grown-ups. Their faces were very close together. Suena frowned. "What kind of book is this?" she whispered. She turned to the next page. Another picture. This time the man was holding the woman in a funny way. There were words below the pictures, but Suena didn't understand all of them. Some looked big and confusing. Some were words she had heard before, but only in movies. Page after page, she saw drawings. All of them showed men and women doing things she had never seen in real life. Her heart started to beat faster. She wasn't smiling anymore. She felt confused, curious, but also small. "This is strange," she whispered again. "Is this Mommy's book?" She sat on the bed, holding the book tightly. She wanted to close it, but a voice in her head said, "Just look at one more page." Suena looked again. Then again, the book made her feel like she had entered a room she wasn't supposed to be in. Then she had an idea. She jumped up, ran out of the room, and headed for Musa's house holding the book like a treasure. "Musa, Musa," she shouted at his window. "Come out." Musa opened the door. "What? Why are you breathing like you just ran from a lion?" Suena grinned. "I found something. It's a comic book. You've never seen anything like it before. Come and see." Musa followed her without asking questions. They went back to her house and sat on the couch. Is it a superhero book? Musa asked. Suena shook her head. Is it a cartoon? No, she said with a strange smile. But it's very interesting. She opened the book. Musa leaned close. They began to flip through the pages together, at first. Musa giggled. What is this? Suena giggled too. But the more they read, the less they laughed. Minutes passed. Then many more. The room was quiet. No cartoons. No snacks. Just the sound of paper turning and the beating of small hearts trying to understand big things. When they reached the last page, Musa closed the book slowly. He looked at Suena. She looked back at him. They were no longer smiling. This is not just a funny book, Musa said. It's something else, Suena nodded. But why would our parents have it? Musa stood up. Maybe they do the things in the book. Suena looked shocked. You think so? Musa nodded. Maybe. There was silence again. Then Musa said something that made Sua's eyes grow wide. Since we were pretending to be our parents, maybe we should try doing what they do in this book too. Suena didn't answer for a moment. Then she jumped up and said, Let's do it. The chicken that follows the hawk to play will not return home with feathers. When a child follows something too big or dangerous, they may lose more than they. No. Suena stood with her hands on her waist. Her eyes were serious. Now, let's try one of the things they did in the book, she said. Musa looked at her, unsure. He scratched his head. But which one? Suena didn't answer. She held the book again and opened to the middle. She pointed to a page. This one, she said. Let's just act it like a play. We're only pretending. Musa sat down slowly. He didn't fully understand what they were about to do, but Sua sounded sure, and he didn't want her to laugh at him or call him scared. So he said, Okay, just for fun. They began acting like the people in the picture. They stood too close. They held hands. They copied everything. But soon, things started to feel strange. Suena felt her heart beating fast, not from fun, but from something she didn't know how to name. Her chest felt heavy. Musa didn't feel right either. He looked down at his feet. Suena, he said, maybe we should stop. This doesn't feel like playing anymore. Suena looked up at him. You feel that too? He nodded. They stepped back and sat on the couch again. The book lay between them. The room felt quiet. Too quiet. Even the ticking clock on the wall sounded loud now. Suena rubbed her arm. Do you think we've done something bad? Musa looked down. I don't know, Suena whispered. What if Mommy finds out? Musa stood up. I'm going home, he said quickly. I think we went too far. He walked out fast, not looking back. Suena sat alone, the book still in her lap. She looked at the pictures one more time. But this time, she didn't feel curious. She felt small, afraid, and ashamed. She closed the book and pushed it under the couch. Then she went to her room and lay on her bed, staring at the ceiling. Her heart whispered a question she couldn't answer. What have I done? A child who plays with fire will surely burn his fingers. Every action has consequences, especially when we cross boundaries too soon. The next day, the sky was cloudy. The birds were quiet. Even the wind seemed slow. Suena didn't want to come out of her house. She sat on her bed with her chin in her hands. The book was still under the couch in the sitting room, but her mind was holding it tighter than her hands ever did. Her mother had come home the night before, tired from work. But Sua didn't tell her anything. She just smiled and said, Welcome, Mummy, then went to bed early. This morning, she didn't smile. She didn't laugh. She didn't even want breakfast. Just a few steps away, Musa was also not himself. He sat at the corner of the bed in his room, looking at his toes. His father had already left for work, but Musa hadn't moved. He didn't even touch his toy cars. His heart was heavy. Something inside him felt broken, but he didn't know what it was. He wanted to talk to Suena, but he also didn't want to see her. He was too ashamed. Why did I agree? He whispered. By noon, Suena stepped outside quietly and sat on the front step. Her heart jumped when she saw Musa walking slowly along the fence. He saw her too. They both looked at each other. Their eyes met, then looked away quickly. Musa walked over. "Hi," he said softly. "Hi," Suena replied. They were both quiet for a moment. Then Zua asked, "Did you tell your daddy?" Musa shook his head fast. "Now you." She shook her head. 2. More silence. Then Suena whispered, "I feel like I did something very wrong." Musa sat down beside her. "Me too." She looked at him. "Why didn't we stop earlier?" He shrugged. "Because we didn't know it was bad until it felt bad." Zua nodded slowly. She pulled her knees to her chest. "What if someone finds the book?" Musa's eyes grew wide. "Where is it?" "Under the couch. We have to hide it better," he said. Suena shook her head. "No, we have to return it to where I found it. If Mommy finds it missing, she'll know someone touched it." Musa sighed. "Suena," he said, "do you think God is angry with us?" Suena looked up at the clouds. They were grey like her heart. "I think so," she said. "I prayed last night, but I didn't know what to say." Musa was quiet again. Then he said something unexpected. "I wish we could go back to just playing." "Ludo?" Suena looked at him and smiled a small, sad smile. "Me too," she said. "When a child eats too much meat in secret, his stomach will speak in public. What is done in secret will always show in the end." The sun had started to shine again. It was afternoon, but the air felt heavy, like something was watching. Suena stood in her living room, holding the book in her hands. It felt heavier than before, even though it was small. She had waited until her mother went to the market. Musa had also said his house was quiet. "Now or never," she whispered. She tiptoed back to her mother's bedroom. Her legs were shaking, her hands too. She knelt by the drawer, pulled it open just a little, and slipped the book back inside exactly where she had found it. Then she closed the drawer very, very slowly. Click. She stood up and ran out of the room as if something might grab her from behind. When she sat on the couch again, her chest was breathing like she had been running for hours. Later that day, she met Musa near the mango tree at the edge of their fence. "I put the book back," she said. Musa nodded. "Good. That's good." They were both quiet. Then Musa asked, "Do you think our parents used that book to learn those things?" Suena didn't answer at first. Then she said, "I think it's not for us to know, but what if we grow up and become like them?" Musa asked. Zua looked at him seriously. "When we grow up, we will understand. But now, I think we are still children, and children should not rush into adult shoes." Musa smiled a little. "Yes, my grandma used to say, a small head must not carry a big load." Suena smiled too. "But what if they find out?" he asked. Suena's smile faded. "Then we'll have to tell the truth." That evening, as Suena helped her mother slice vegetables in the kitchen, her hands were quiet, but her heart was loud. She wanted to talk, but she didn't know how. "Mommy," she said softly, "can I ask something?" Her mother looked up. "Yes, my dear. What kind of books do adults read?" Her mother laughed. "Ah, many kinds. Bible, newspapers, novels. Some even read books for learning about marriage and grown-up life." Suena looked down. "What if a child finds one of those grown-up books?" Her mother stopped slicing for a moment. She looked at Suena closely. "Why do you ask?" Suena's heart jumped. She opened her mouth, then closed it. "I just wondered," she said. "Maybe from school." Her mother nodded slowly, but her eyes were still sharp. "Suena," she said, "some books are like fire. They can give warmth, but they can also burn." Suena looked up. "I don't understand. You will when the time is right. That night, Suena lay in bed and looked at the ceiling. She felt lighter than the day before, but not fully free. Something still held her heart in its hand. A child who tells lies will one day forget the truth. When we hide things for too long, it becomes harder to speak the truth. Days passed. Suena and Musa didn't play like they used to. No more laughing over Ludo. No more running around the backyard. No more silly games. They still saw each other. They still greeted. But something had changed. The fun between them had become quiet. Suena sat by her window every morning, watching the sky. Sometimes he thought of telling her mummy the truth, but each time fear tied her mouth like a strong rope. Mommy will be angry, she thought. She might never trust me again. Musa had his own fears too. Every time his daddy called his name, Musa's heart would jump. He thought his father knew even when his father only asked for the TV remote. Musa's hands would shake. One afternoon, Suena sat alone under the mango tree. Her mother was still at work, and the house was quiet. She had a pencil and notebook in her hand. She was trying to write a story, but nothing good came out. Every line ended in guilt. She dropped the pencil. Then she heard footsteps. It was Musa. "Hi," he said. "Hi," she replied. He sat beside her on the old wooden bench. "I had a dream," Musa said. "What kind of dream?" "I saw both of us standing in front of a church. We were wearing school uniforms, but everyone was looking at us like we did something wrong." Suena was quiet. "I woke up crying," he added. Suena swallowed. "Maybe your heart is trying to clean itself." Musa looked at her. "Do you think God still loves us?" Suena nodded. "Yes, but I think he wants us to speak the truth." Musa rubbed his palms together. "To who?" Suena looked up at the sky. "To our parents." Musa sighed. "I'm scared." "Me too," she said. "But I'm more scared of keeping the lie." They were both silent. A leaf fell from the mango tree and landed on Suena's lap. She picked it up slowly. Then she said something she hadn't said before. "Musa, I want to tell my mummy everything." Musa turned to her in surprise. "Everything?" Suena nodded. "Yes, about the book, about what we did, everything." Musa looked down. "Then I'll do the same." That evening, Suena sat at the edge of her mother's bed. Her hands were shaking. Her mother came into the room smiling, holding a cup of warm tea. But when she saw Suena's face, she stopped. "My dear, are you okay?" Suena opened her mouth, and this time, the words came out. The mouth that confesses is the mouth that finds peace. Truth may be hard, but it brings healing. Suena's mother sat down slowly, placing her teacup on the table. She looked at her daughter with calm eyes. "Suena," she said softly, "what is troubling you?" Suena's fingers pulled at the edge of her dress. Her eyes were wet, but she didn't let the tears fall yet. "Mommy," she began, "do you remember the day you went to work last week?" Her mother nodded. "Yes. Why?" Suena took a deep breath. "When you left, music came over. We were just playing, but then I wanted to dress like you." Her mother smiled a little. "That's normal. Children always want to be like their parents." Sue nodded slowly. "Yes. So I went into your room to look for your lipstick." Her mother didn't speak. She was listening carefully now. "And then I saw a book in your drawer. It had a strange title." Suena looked up at her mother with frightened eyes. "I opened it." Her mother's smile faded. Suena continued. "It had pictures of adults doing things I didn't understand. I was confused. I called Musa to come and see it too." She looked down again. "We sat and looked at the whole book together." Her voice became softer, and we copied one of the pictures. "We thought we were just playing, but later, it didn't feel like playing anymore." The room was quiet. Suena wiped her eyes quickly with her hand. "I'm sorry, Mommy," she said. "I really didn't know it was bad, but now I do, and my heart has not rested since." Her mother's hands were still. Her face was calm but serious. She reached out and gently held Suena's hand. My daughter, she said, thank you for telling me the truth. It's not easy to speak when we feel ashamed, but the fact that you did it shows your heart is still pure. Suena began to cry, not from fear, but from relief. Her mother pulled her close and hugged her. Listen to me, she whispered. That book was not meant for your eyes. It's not a storybook. It's not a comic. It's for grown-ups, and even some grown-ups don't understand it well. Suena sniffled. I am sorry I touched your things. Her mother nodded. I will forgive you. But let this teach you something. Not everything that looks fun is good. Sometimes curiosity can take us where we are not ready to go, Suena whispered. I think I lost part of my innocence. Her mother touched her cheek gently. No, my dear, you only took a wrong turn. But now, you are walking back. They hugged again. Then her mother said, tomorrow I'll visit Muse's parents. They also need to know. Suena froze. Will they be angry? Maybe, her mother said. But it is better for the truth to be known than for guilt to hide in the dark. That night, Suena slept with tears on her pillow. But this time, they were not from fear. They were the tears of a heart being cleaned. The path may be muddy, but the river still finds its way home. We all make mistakes, but we can return to the right path. The next morning, the sky was bright and clear, but inside Muse's house, the air felt heavy. Muse sat at the edge of the couch, looking at the floor. He knew what was coming. His father had just returned from morning prayers. He removed his cap, poured himself water, and was about to sit down when someone knocked on the door. Knock, knock. Muse looked up quickly. His father opened the door and found Suena's mother standing there. She greeted him kindly. Good morning, sir. May I come in? Yes, please, he said. You are welcome. She stepped in, her face calm but serious. Muse's heart began to beat faster. His father noticed. Madam, is everything all right? She nodded slowly. There's something we need to talk about. It concerns the children. Muse's father sat down beside her. I'm listening. Suena's mother looked at Muse. Would you like to speak, or shall I? Muse opened his mouth. His voice was small. I'll speak. He looked at his father with eyes full of worry. Daddy, he began. That day you went to work. I went to Suena's house. We were playing. Then she found a book in her mommy's drawer. His father didn't blink. Muse continued. It had drawings, grown-up drawings. I don't know why we didn't stop, but we looked through it. Every page. He paused. Then we acted like the people in one of the pictures. Silence. Muse lowered his head. I'm sorry, he whispered. I didn't know how wrong it was, but I've been feeling bad ever since. His father's eyes were still. His lips were tight. Then he spoke slowly. Muse, thank you for speaking the truth. Muse looked up, surprised. His father continued. You have done something wrong, but you have also done something brave. Confession is not for cowards. Suena's mother nodded. They need correction, but they also need understanding. Muse's father stood up and walked to his son. He placed a hand on his shoulder. This is your first mistake in this kind of matter, he said, and it must be your last. Do you hear me? Yes, Daddy. You are still a child. Don't rush to wear adult shoes. Those shoes can break your legs. I understand now, Muse said quietly. His father looked at both women. Thank you for not hiding this. Better a child be corrected early than be punished late. Suena's mother smiled softly. They're still young. This is the time to shape them. That evening, Suena and Muse sat under the mango tree again. But this time, there was no shame between them, no guilt, no silence. Suena held a Ludo board. Muse held the dice. Shall we go back to being children again? She asked with a smile. Muse smiled back. Yes, I miss it. The tree that bends early will grow straight. When correction comes early, the future becomes better. 1 week had passed. The air in the neighborhood felt lighter, brighter. Suena and Muse were back to laughing again. They played Ludo, ran around with sandals flying, and even helped their parents with chores. Their hearts felt clean, but something inside them had changed, something quiet and strong. They had learned a lesson that would stay with them forever. The lesson. Swaina sat on her porch one evening, holding a pen and writing in her diary. She wrote, "Not everything is for children. Some things are meant to wait. Curiosity is not a bad thing, but it must walk with wisdom." In Muse's house, his father gave him a new notebook. "Use this to write your thoughts," he said. "It helps the heart stay clean." Muse smiled and nodded. He knew now that being a child was not a weakness. It was a season to protect. What this story teaches us children are full of questions, but not every answer should come from a drawer, a phone, or a hidden book. Parents must stay alert. Just locking the door is not enough. Guidance and open talks are more powerful than locks. Silence can be dangerous. What a child does not ask out loud, they may ask in secret with dangerous answers. What can be done? Talk to your children early. Teach them what is right, gently and clearly. Keep adult materials far from children's reach. Watch what they watch. Limit what they click. Give them your time, not just food and clothes, but conversation and love. Be the first voice they hear, so the world is not the one that teaches them wrong. Swaina and Muse made a mistake, but they also made a choice to tell the truth, to seek help, and to return to their childhood. That is where healing began. So dear parents, guardians, and even young ones watching, the river that forgets its source will dry in shame. Let's not forget where wisdom begins, in love, truth, and guidance. Thank you so much for watching this full story. If it touched your heart, taught you something new, or opened your eyes, please like, comment with your thoughts, share with someone who needs to hear this, and don't forget to subscribe for more powerful stories like this one. Thank you for the love and support.